So let's start with tonight's session. Firstly, welcome formally from me, Dion, to all of you. Hello and welcome. I appreciate you guys being here. I know it is your time, and time is our most valuable asset we have. So you're spending on this, and so hopefully I'll give you some thought to think about, something to ponder about, some wonderful things to wonder about. And if you do wonder about it, just go home at some stage, because don't wander too far. So we are talking about, as I said in the post, I put there the matrix, and the idea was to get you guys thinking about a very specific topic, and that is the ability of the brain to have a bit of a delusion. So let me ask this question when we start, or as we start. Who here believes that a healthy mind can distort concepts and have a certain level of delusions? Who here believes it's actually quite natural and that most people with healthy minds actually go through it? Can you put a hand in the air if you believe it? So I'm going to put my hand in the air because that's my opening statement. It's a very tough thing for a lot of people to grasp, but a healthy mind has delusions. So if you've been called names in the past, you're delusional, welcome to the majority of the healthy minds in the world. Every single healthy mind at some level, at some stage, has a bit of a delusion, but we need to understand what delusions are, how they work, how they impact us, how they influence us, and can we control them? Can we adjudicate them? Can we look at them and say this is a worthwhile illusion or delusion or distortion or not? And I think therein lies the big secret or the big key. So tonight I'm just going to explain a little bit of how they work, why they happen. If you've done my 9-day course, you'll recognize a little bit of what I'm going to talk about, but not much. But I think the most important is we all have them. How do we measure if it's serving me or not? And how do we use them to our benefits, and what do we do with them? That's the critical thing. All right, so let's start off with a statement. Healthy minds distort reality. Everybody's healthiest mind, or the healthiest minds, or anybody with a healthy mind, we do distort reality. We need to understand what causes distortions and where distortions happen. So the two areas, or some of the areas where distortions happen, obviously is in our beliefs. We might believe something and it might not be true. But if we've got a very fundamental belief, then something that is opposite to that belief could be distorted or could create some kind of a delusion or illusion in the brain. Our values operate the same way as our beliefs do. And the last one of ourselves usually is our own identity. So as humans, we take our values, we take our beliefs, we merge the two. And when we merge the two, it creates a personal identity. And our identity is basically that part of us that we make manifest in the world through our behaviors and our actions and everything else. And if something is contradicting what we believe about our own identity, there's a possibility that some level of delusion or distortion could happen. Does that make sense? I trust it does. All right. Then there's one area that also obviously creates a lot of distortions, and that's stored experiences, recent memories. So in the courses, a lot of you guys have done the course already. Usually we play the game and I write the word cat on the board, and you got to guess what the word represents, and you all come up with your own image. That's purely just the distortion according to your own recent experiences and memories. So that's obviously another influence of distortion. And then the last one that influences a lot of distortions or delusions, illusions in the human brain is highly emotional, impactful events. Highly emotional, impactful events. Now, that can be anything from a traumatic to an ecstatic. Highly emotional, impactful events. They also have an effect on the brain where it can start causing a bit of an illusion, delusion, or a distortion. Now, that's the key areas where we start. But here are two areas that I found extremely interesting, or two two reasons for subtle distortions. One of them is when we receive feedback that we don't like. When someone says something to us, maybe you dressed up and you thought you dressed beautiful, and someone says, "What are you wearing?" And you're getting feedback that you experience as negative. Now, I'm just going to use a quick example here, and I'm probably going to refer to this example a few times tonight. I've got a family member that loves singing, and this is a true story. Loves singing. A few years back, she decided to join Idols and to go in and become a contestant and sing in front of the judges. You guys know what Idols is, right? Now, she won the wooden mic. If you know Idols, you should know what the wooden mic is. It is for the worst contestant of the season. Now, obviously, what happened is she had a belief that she could sing. She went up in front of judges, and the judges said, "Nah, not at all. Sorry, please don't do it in public ever again. If you have to ensure you are in a secluded, soundproof room." So she won the wooden mic in that competition. So she obviously got feedback. Now, is it possible, and we've all watched that program, how many people get negative feedback on a platform like that? And then they say, "You're wrong. I can do this." And the rest of us listen to it and we go, "That's horrible. I mean, you couldn't hold one note through the whole time. How is it possible?" That's a delusion or a distortion of feedback. The moment it challenges our beliefs, the moment it reduces our self-image, the moment it reduces our self-image or our self-esteem, it is very easy for the brain to distort the feedback and change it. Either make it a lie, change some of the words in it. Sometimes you'll give someone some feedback, it might be negative feedback, and they literally would take it as a compliment because there's a bit of a distortion and a delusion in there. Has anybody been in a conversation like that with someone? Come on. Yes, yes. All right. So that's one of the areas that I found extremely interesting when that happens. I know it's happened to me before. I am absolutely certain someone's given me feedback at some stage in my life, and I went, "Oh, thank you. It's so nice of you." I'm quite sure that has happened. So let's be aware of that one. Then there's the last one that we really, really need to understand. And this is, to a large extent, what I am going to talk about tonight. And here's the interesting one. Purpose can become a distortion, can become an illusion, can become a delusion, can become a fake, adapted purpose to serve individual. Purpose could be a delusion. Purpose. Now, why is this an important topic? I think most of the people on this platform are in some kind of profession where you serve humanity. You're either a coach or similar type of role. And very often we believe that that role we play is our life purpose. Very often we believe in some cases that it is a calling. We believe it is an unction. We believe it is the reason that we were created. We believe it's the purpose that we are alive. And it's very easy for the brain to bring in a little bit of a distortion, a little bit of a delusion, or even a little bit of an illusion into purpose. Now, some of you guys got what I just said. Some of you guys, "No, please don't tell me my purpose is illusion." I'm not saying your purpose is. I'm merely saying it's very easy for the brain to have a bit of a delusion about what we might believe is our life purpose. And I want to unpack that a little bit, and I want to explain. So let's start right from scratch in the beginning. So I listened to a story the other day, and the story to me just rang so true. It's a story about a lion in a cage at a zoo. And the storyteller tells about the lion in a cage at the zoo, and he asked a simple question. He said, if you go to the zoo and you see a lion, they're caged up, they might be in a large cage, but a fenced up area behind a wall, but usually there is a door or a gate where the people that serve food to the lion or that take care of the cage can enter and exit. So he asked the question, why is that gate locked? If a lion is born in a zoo, it grows up in a zoo, it has had no contact with the outside world, it has had no contact with the wild, it's never been allowed to hunt its prey. It's never been in a position where it's even seen another lion attack something or someone. It's never been given the freedom to test its own ability even to go out and hunt. So why would they then lock the gate? The answer is quite a simple one, because the lion instinctively knows there is something more. It instinctively knows that the world is a bigger place than that cage that it is in. It instinctively knows that it can hunt, that it is strong, that it is a conqueror. It knows it instinctively. And when I listened to the story, I absolutely loved it. Now, he used the story to explain a completely different concept. I'm bringing the story in here tonight because for me, that story rang extremely true for the simple reason we as humans, we as humans experience the same. The moment we are caged in, we know there's something else. Now, what, Dion? I was never locked in a cage. I'm no slave. Nobody caught me and locked me in a cage. Well, we get caged in by doing certain jobs we dislike. Anybody been caged in with a job? I have, right? We get caged in personal relationships. Sometimes we enter into a relationship with a partner, sometimes inside of our family circle, sometimes inside of our friendship circle, sometimes inside of our culture, our society, or the space that people we connect with, we sometimes experience being caged in. Anybody had that before? Yes? Sometimes the area I stay in, my environment, the suburb, the house, the country that I live in can make me feel caged in. Hello? Sometimes my financial situation can make me feel caged in. Now, here's what happens whenever something that's alive starts to feel caged in. The moment the concept enters the mind, I feel caged in. Second, contrary, flip side of that concept also manifests in the brain. And that concept is there has to be something better. There has to be something else. There has to be something bigger. There has to be something grander. There has to be. Hello? Now, here's a key. Here's a key. There's two types of something bigger. The one is, I hope there is something bigger. The second one is, I know there is something bigger. I hope there is a better future for me, or I know there is a better future for me. So you guys can hear the difference between the two, right? I hope there's a better life partner for me in the future. I know there's a better partner. I hope my finances might come right one day. I know my finances might come right today. Two complete distinct differences, but both of them burst in the same source. Both of them burst in, I'm caged in, something's not right, I'm not feeling good, this is not right, there has to be something different. Now, here's my question. Which one of those two, I hope or I know, is a delusion? Well, ponder on that for a while, because I'll get back to that answer. I'm going to leave you just to think a little bit on that, because one of them is a delusion. But I'm not going to give you the answer yet. Is that okay? It's very tough to distinguish between the two. It's very tough to distinguish which one is the delusion, which one is necessarily the right path to take. In the same way, it's very tough for us to differentiate if what I believe is my purpose, what I believe is my calling, what I believe is the unction, what I believe is my path, my reason for being alive. In the same way, it's very difficult for the human brain to distinguish which one is delusional and which one is not. Does that make sense? You see the similarity there? Guys, you with me still? Hello? It's a complex one tonight. I'm going fast. Don't worry. It's being recorded. We'll post the recording on the group and you can watch it again and listen carefully because there are a couple of nuggets in between here. Now, we need to, firstly, to be able to distinguish between what is delusional and what is not. We need to unpack how the brain really functions and where delusions tend to come from and how do they sort of function, if that makes sense. So how do you test it? How do you know this is good, this is not good, this is a delusion, this is not a delusion, this is truth, this is not truth, this is factual, this is inaccurate? How do we know? How do you know if what you believe is your life purpose? How do you know if you believe what you put energy and effort into to make manifest in this life? How do you know you're on the right path? So let's understand a little bit about the brain. Now, most of you guys, as I said earlier, have done my 9-day course. You understand one concept that I teach a lot, and that is the concept of how beliefs function. All right. Sorry, I just had a very strange sound happening in the background. So how do beliefs function? So as humans, we have a belief, we have values. These two create our identity. From our beliefs, values, and identity, our thoughts are created, our internal dialogue. So keep that in mind. So we've got our beliefs, values, identity. From there, our thoughts are created, our internal dialogue, those conversations that's going on inside your head, they are created. From our thoughts, our decisions and choices are created. So we've got beliefs, values, and identity right at the top. Then here we've got thoughts, internal dialogue, created by that. From there, we have decisions and choices created. Decisions and choices create behavior, reactions, and actions. Correct? You still with me? Behavior, actions, and reactions create an external experience in this magnificent world we live in. When we have an external experience, we get information back, we get feedback. And that feedback is a perceptual feedback. It's related according to how we take that feedback, how we feel at that moment, our emotions, all kinds of different things. But that feeds right back into our belief system. Now, here's the way we test if somewhere in that cycle, we have a little bit of a delusion. So the first test is what's called a cold test. Now, the cold test is by testing something to a cold audience. Now, let me go back to the story I told you guys. Remember my cousin? Remember that story about my cousin that went and sang at the Idols and then won the wooden mic? Do you think she sang in front of her mommy and her children and her husband and her close family members before? Yes? What did mommy say about her singing? That's beautiful, my darling. You should be a pop star. What did the husband say about her singing? I'm loving it. It's making me extremely calm. What did the children say about the singing? Mommy, sing that song again? Correct? First thing we do is we need to test our purpose. We need to test our calling in a cold audience. Why in a cold audience? Remember that little cycle I gave you? Cold audience gives us external behavior and gives us honest feedback. Honest feedback. Now, why am I saying this? Well, a lot of you guys want to be coaches, right? A lot of you guys want to be public speakers. A lot of you guys want to stand on platforms and change the world. A lot of you guys want to become prime minister of the country. I don't know. A lot of you guys want to alter the way the world thinks. You want to become teachers, trainers, leaders. How do you know that what you believe your purpose is? How do you know it's an accurate purpose? Simple. Test it on a cold audience. Cold audience, not mommy and daddy, not your loved ones, not your inner circle. Because inner circle is not necessarily going to give you honest feedback. You need honest feedback. Hello? If you think you're a speaker, create an event and get people onto your event that you do not know and let them respond and give you feedback. If you believe you're a coach, coach people you do not know. If you believe you're a leader, lead people you haven't met before and get feedback and then listen to the feedback. Not just one person, do a couple. Is that clear enough? Yes? That's one way of testing, am I delusional or am I living my purpose? Cool. Second kind of a test you can do. This is not always true, but this is going to definitely steer you in the right direction. Ask yourself a simple question. Is my life purpose self-gratification driven, or is my life purpose others' satisfaction or gratification? In other words, is my life purpose serving only me, or is my life purpose serving other people as well? Very simple question. If your life purpose, if you believe there's something is your life purpose and it is only serving you, there's a 99%, I want to say 99.9% probability, slightly delusional, strong probability. If inside your life purpose, it serves you at a certain level, and it serves something greater than you, either people, animals, community, nature, even if it's a religious one and it serves, the God you believe in, then there's a higher probability that you're not in a delusional state. So where does this come from? How do we measure that? Which part in that cycle? Why did I explain that whole belief cycle? Because this is or stems directly from our thoughts, our internal dialogue. So we can use our thoughts to measure our thoughts and say, is this purpose serving me? When I think about this purpose, is the reward all about me, or is the reward for other people as well? Check your own internal dialogue. Only you will know. Now, I'm saying this very definitely, only you will know, because there are people in this world, and we know them, we've all met them, that live a life externally as if they are serving communities. We call them politicians. No, I'm teasing. There are a lot of people in a lot of different roles that look as if they are serving communities and other people, something greater than themselves, but in reality, it's self-serving. It's absolute all about just the I, the me, the ego, and everything else. Yep. How do we know the difference? You cannot see it from the outside in someone else. Only the individual who's got that purpose, who believes that's their calling, who believes that's their right place in the world, only that individual can listen to their own internal thoughts, dialogue, concepts that's going on in their head and make that decision. Is that okay? Yep. Everybody still with me on this one? I see some of you guys are writing. Don't stress too much about the writing. You can get the recording and then make notes. That's okay. Just listen, take in, and try. All right. My last statement. How do we know if my purpose in life is a delusion, or how do we know that my purpose in life is truthful and is pure and is my true purpose? How do we know? So number one, I said, check it with a cold audience. Number two, listen to your own internal dialogue. Is it all about ego, or is it serving others? Number three, very easy one. Are there results? Are there results? You see, the difference between a delusional mind and a rational mind is in the results. I want to rephrase that, if I may. The difference between insanity and genius lies in the results. You see, some of you guys have got something that you believe is a purpose, and you're going for it. And everybody around you is saying, you're cuckoos. I know that because I went through that. When I started in this industry, I came from a successful career. I walked away from it. And one of the first things, every friend, every family member, everybody had you said, Dion, you're missing it, but you're entering an industry that's got a lot of competition. You know, it's oversaturated. You're never going to make it on your own. You're a no-name brand. You're nobody. Nobody knows you. You're not going to be able to make it. You crazy. A couple of years later, I got voted #1 in South Africa. Same people. Hey, butter. Yes, you were smart. You were genius. How did you know to take that gap? Same people. What was the difference? Results, outcomes. Now, not necessarily final results, but there has to be some kind of measurable result in your process of the journey of your purpose. You know, science will tell you if it cannot be measured, it doesn't exist. If it cannot be measured, it doesn't exist. If results don't show, if there's no results, nothing you can put your finger on and say, here's an actual result. Look at this. This proves I'm on the right path. Here's a comment from someone. Here's someone that said, you're the greatest leader. Or here's someone that said, you changed my life. Or here's someone that gave me this. Or here's money in the bank. Or here's a building that I built. Or look at this piece of art. Some kind of a result, something that can be measured at some level in your journey towards your purpose. Then you know I'm on the right track. If you've been on that journey for quite some time, and what I mean by quite some time is a couple of months, maybe a year. I know people that's been on the journey for a couple of years. No results. No results. Constantly expecting the results around the corner. Next month, we'll have results. 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 Year in, year out. There's a strong probability that purpose is a delusion. Hello? Sorry, got to say it. Somebody's got to say it. Now, here's what we need to understand. There's a couple of causes, easy causes to create a purpose delusion. Now, there's 5 on my list, and I'm going to say right up front, when I started preparing this, I looked at this list and I realized I've done them all on a regular basis. In other words, I'm in a large extent part of creating delusions in other people's minds from time to time, but you'll get it as I go through the list. So, but I wanted to say that up front because it's vital. It needs to be said. So one of the first ones on my list is motivational speakers. I'm not a motivational speaker, so that's the one that I'm not too guilty of. Motivational speakers do create extreme delusions in other people's minds. I'm sorry to say it, but it's true. Inspirational speakers, not so much, and transformational speakers, very seldom. But people that are purely motivational speakers, you can do it, come on, you can do it, you can dream it, you can achieve it, go for it, run for it. Nothing wrong in the principle. Nothing wrong in the principle, but it has to be delivered in balance. It has to be delivered to a mature audience. It has to be delivered with some kind of relevance, checks and balances in place at the same time. Does that make sense? Yes. If you're just out there to motivate and to motivate and to motivate, I do believe you might be missing the point, and you could possibly be creating a couple of delusions for some people. Because some of the statements that a lot of motivational speakers use is extremely motivating, but it can alter the belief system of an individual. Yep. All right, next one. And again, this is one of my favorite topics. If you've been in my class, you know I've spoken about this numerous of times. And the second one is, come on, break out of your comfort zone. How many of you guys have heard me talk? Come on, be careful. Comfort zones are dangerous. Now, I'll stick to that statement. Comfort zones are dangerous. But I need to bring it into balance. Because I realized something the other day. I like some of my comfort zones. When I sit behind my notebook and I'm preparing a teaching and I'm writing and I'm in the zone, I'm in the flow and I'm in my creative juices there, to me, that is a comfort zone. I feel extremely comfortable in that zone. So I think when we talk about just breaking out of comfort zones, sometimes we might be a little bit irresponsible. And hopefully I will say this in the future, because I am going to talk about comfort zones again in the future, and I'm going to say that they're not good. But hopefully this time around, I will also say that occasionally there's the odd comfort zone that we do need, because we do need rest. So for me, it's a simple statement. Does your comfort zone serve you, or does your comfort zone act as a handbrake towards your purpose? That's the concept we need to understand there. So we are just talking about some common creators of delusions. And when people say get out of your comfort zone, some people can take something that's actually causing stability, that's causing them me time, that's giving them peace and joy. They could break that because I need to get out of the comfort zone and not understand and distort it a little bit. You got the zest of that, guys? Does that make it clear enough? All right, third one. Mediocrity is only acceptable by the mediocre. And the statement attached to that is, don't be mediocre, don't be mediocre, don't be mediocre. I remember a couple of years ago, that was one of my absolute favorite statements. Mediocrity is unacceptable by the mediocre. Are you mediocre? No, you're not, you're exceptional. I believe every human being is exceptional. But if you tell people that they shouldn't be mediocre and they should just push and be excellent and push and be excellent and push and be excellent and push and be excellent, you could create a subtle delusion, distortion in what that person might believe is their purpose in life. Hello? Yes? Should we strive for betterment? Yes. Now, I've changed my opinion about mediocre. In the past, I believed mediocrity was not a good thing. Today, I believe mediocrity does actually not exist. What does exist is either authenticity or copies. Either authenticity, in other words, you are truly you, or you are trying to be merely a copy of someone else. If you're trying to be a copy of someone else and you're not truly authentically really you, you might have a mediocre experience. Yeah. All right. Number 4, things that could cause delusions in our life purpose. Number 4, come on, you need to face the change. Who's heard that statement before? You need to face the change. Come on, you need to face the change. You need to face the change. As humans, we change all of the time. We are on a journey of constant change. I have never met a person that is exactly the same as what they were yesterday. There's a huge amount of similarities to yesterday. But from yesterday to today, you have changed. We are naturally created instinctively inbred, or not inbred, instinctively bred to change. We're not casting stone, we're not rocks, we're not boulders, we're not statues. We are living beings, and every living being goes through change. So here's good news. You are facing change every day. The moment you say to someone, you need to face change, you are forcing them into an altered personality. You're forcing them into an altered activity that might not necessarily fit them, suit them, or be part of their true purpose. So you open a door for a possibility of delusion, illusion, or distortion. Cool? And the last one. You can be what you dream to be. If you can dream it, you can achieve it. One of my favorite sayings. One of my absolute favorite sayings. If you can dream it, you can achieve it. Oh my goodness gracious. I believe I'm Superman. I can fly. Let's jump off the building. Oh my goodness, that was a delusion. It's the possibility. Yes. So we need to understand, and usually when I teach about this, I do bring in the second level. There's a difference in the types of dreams we have. As humans, we usually have two types of dreams. We have recurring, constant, year in, year out dreams. And we have passing dreams. Your passing dreams, they come in, you have them maybe a night or two or three or a week or so. They usually don't last and don't repeat themselves. Those are usually the dreams of grandeur. That is the ones where you think you're Superman, you can jump off the building. But if you've had a consistent dream year in, year out of you doing something, not for self-gratification, but to better the world, to better other people, if you've had that dream, I want to say to you, absolutely, that's not a delusion. That's a purpose. And you can achieve it. That's why your brain is knocking on your door the whole time and say, come on, you can do this. Your subconscious mind is creating a movie that it's playing so your conscious mind can watch it and wake up. Hello? Yes? All right. So here's the interesting part about these. All of these five that I've just mentioned have a place in this world where they can serve us and they're good, but all of them, when applied incorrectly, when taken in incorrectly, when perceived incorrectly, has got the possibility of creating a little bit of a delusion. So what now? What now? Dion, where do we go from here? Do we now follow purpose, do the double checks, and hopefully we're in the right path? What do we do? How do I know this is a good purpose or not? How do I know I should carry on with this or not? I sat with this for a couple of days, and I came up with the only possible answer. Does it make you happy? Does it make you happy? It's the only question I can ask. The answer is yes. Now I've got a second question. Is it sustainable? If it doesn't make you happy, if the answer is no, then please stop doing it. Why are you doing it? If the answer is yes, then you need to ask just a secondary question. Is it sustainable? If the answer to that one is yes, my response will be, go for it. Please. Would you like to do a little bit of self-assessment to ensure that you're on the right path? Oh, yes, I can help you with the self-assessment to ensure that you are not completely delusional and that it is a true purpose. And it's very easy to do a self-assessment. And there's just a quick, fast 5 points on the self-assessment. Does anybody here want to know what the self-assessment is? Anybody want to take your purpose and just go through it and ask yourself, is this serving me? Is this sustainable? Is this a true purpose? Or is it possible that I'm delusional? So self-assessment, very simple. Step one, go inward. go in. What does that mean? It's tough to explain, to say go inward. Get in touch with the real you. Go meditate. Go sit on a rock and ponder. Hypothesize, think, ask yourself a variety of questions around it. Feel what it feels like inside of you. What we tend to do very often is we run this race of life, and we run this race outward. Sometimes we just need to pull up a handbrake, stop, sit on a rock next to a stream of water, and just go in. Very simple. When we go inward, we hear different versions of voices. Might be spiritual voices, might be, I don't know, what you believe, might be your God talking to you, might be your own mind wanting to have a conversation with you on a different level. We cannot hear it if we are running all of the time. So stop, pause, go inward. Number 2, for a time frame, detach yourself from material gratification. Detach yourself from material gratification. Oh, it's a tough one, Dion. No, it's not really. You see, life is just a journey. And sometimes we just need to realize that life is just a journey in which we are placed just to experience. You see, so many of us, we are constantly pushing to try and fix everything. We are constantly pushing just to earn more money. We are constantly pushing to improve our material wealth. Sometimes just stop and realize, hold on, life is nothing else but a journey, and a journey which gives me a beautiful opportunity to experience. What this does, the moment I stop and I go inward, the moment I realize life is a journey of experience, I start altering my perspective on my own purpose, my own actions, my own behavior, my own thoughts, my own choices. It allows me just to give myself a new perspective and a subtly change in perspective. Number 3, merge a little bit of humility with gratitude. Put both in a cup, mix them up, and stir them and serve them to yourself. A little bit of humility with gratitude. One of the things that I absolutely love about my job as a coach, and every other coach on here will know this, it makes us humble. And it gives us extreme gratitude for everything we have in life. Those two combined at the same time in us as humans gives us a wonderful, clear image of life. Gratitude mixed with humility brings clarity in perspective, brings clarity on life purpose, brings clarity on how we view life and the world around us. Number 4, and this is probably one of my absolute favorites. If you've been in my class for the last couple of months, you would have heard me say these words numerous times. Share authentic love. Authentic love. What's the difference between love and authentic love? Big. Authentic love comes from a deep core inside of you where you can love a complete stranger you've never met before, that is butt ugly, whose breath smells, and whose hair is combed extremely funny. You can even love that person in the moment of meeting them. That's authentic love. It's a choice you make up front. I love humanity. I love people. I love everyone that crosses my path. But it needs to be authentic. It needs to come from your core, from your soul, from your heart. I don't know where. Authentic love gives us the ability to experience a different form of interaction with other people. If we live out authentic love and we share it with those around us, it bounces back. It gives us a different perspective of what is happening in life. And the moment we have a belief that I have got this calling, I've got this purpose in life, if I step into authentic love, sometimes I alter it, I tweak it a little bit, because I want to ensure that it's going to serve others, it's going to serve humanity. And I remove that ego drive in me. And the last one is just simple. It's just turn around and look in the mirror. Another word for it is just reassess, reassess. So how do we do that? Very simple. Take a pen and paper, and with your hand, don't type it into the computer, with your hand, write down, this is my purpose. The heading, this is my purpose. And then write your purpose down. Take a 5-minute walk, come back, write again. Take a walk, come back, write again. Take a walk, come back, write again. Do it for days non-stop. Every couple of minutes, look at that piece of paper. Write what you think, what comes to mind, what your purpose is. Keep writing. Till when? Till you cry. Until a teardrop falls on the page. Because then you know something deep inside of you has been stirred. The true lion, the true magnificence, the true purpose has been woken. And very, very seldom would you find that if all those checks and balances are in place, that you are living in a delusion. Because it's really tough. It's really tough going inward. It's really tough getting detached from material stuff, merging gratitude and humility, being authentic in your love that you share with others, and doing a bit of a self-assessment. It's really, really hard to apply all of those and still be delusional. Yes? Does it make any sense? Some of you guys got this 100,000%. Some of you guys are going, no idea what you're talking about, Dan. To me, it's a simple thing. You see, I do not believe that we are just a whole bunch of chemicals that got together by chance and now we're walking around on this rock. I somehow believe behind all of this, there's something better. There's something bigger. So maybe I'm delusional. Maybe I'm not. But I do know this, and this is something I said earlier. It brings me joy and it serves me. And if I go through the checks and balances, I kind of feel extremely comfortable in what I believe my purpose is. And my purpose is to make everybody else that's sharing this ridiculous journey called life just a little bit better. Just a little bit better. Someone asked me what I do for a living. My latest statement, I make things just a little bit better. How much? Just a little bit. Not a huge amount. I don't have to change you completely. I don't have to bring drastic change. I don't have to be a magician. Just make it a little bit better. Is that okay?
Visit actionfactory.co.za to find out more. Change your mind. Change your life.